Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about farming credits. I've recently had a couple guys in my clan ask me about the best ways to farm them, and they were amazed when I told them that there were missions where you get hundreds of thousands in one go. And I'll be showing that near the end of the video. But for most players who haven't unlocked the index yet by completing the Glast Gambit, I want to go over a couple early credit farming techniques. For the most part, as you go through each mission once in the star chart to unlock them, you should be making a decent amount of credits for early game. But if you ever run into a wall where you need maybe 50 to 100,000 credits and are unable to progress farther, dark sector missions are going to be the best place for you to farm early. Now, what are dark sector missions? The short answer is you really don't need to know. And the long answer is it's a defunct section of the clan system that dealt with solar rails and no longer matters. But DE still left the missions in the game after removing the solar rail functionality. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to learn more about the dark sector missions or what possible rewards you can gain by doing them. But for this video, I'm going to focus on just the credit bonus. And before I forget, to find these missions in game, you simply look for missions that have an icon like this. They will also have an extra line of text as you hover over the mission that says bonus. These are bonuses unique to each dark sector mission and are good to pay attention to. But for this, we're going to focus on dark sector defenses. We're choosing defense because it's an easy mission to leave after the objective has been completed. On the dark sector missions, once you have completed an objective, you can extract and receive a bonus credits depending on which mission you've chosen. You can check the links in the description to show the exact amount of bonus credits on each dark sector mission. But for this, I'm going to be focusing on two missions. Kadesh on Mars and Semini on Ceres. Early on, these missions are good for farming credits. All you have to do is simply queue into a public game, finish 5 rounds, and then extract. This is by no means the most enjoyable way to farm credits, but it is very efficient and it'll save you a lot of time. For me, I did some testing on Semini that's playing in the background right now to see how many credits I got and how long the missions took. I averaged about 22,000 credits for an average mission length of about 4.5 minutes. If you need credits early and have access to Ceres, this is the mission I would recommend. The next credit farming mission I want to go over is easily the best in the game, and that's the Index on Neptune. The Index is unlocked after completing Glast Gambit, which is a quest that will force you to run through the index a whole bunch, and you'll probably be sick of it by the end. But trust me, it's worth doing because this is by far the most efficient way of farming credits in the game. If you have not completed the quest yet, you can also ask for a taxi to the mission. Although if you're going to do this, please don't just leech off of the other players and try to participate as best you can. I will warn you, however, that it can be a little tough on new players. And if you queue into public games, you might be able to get carried or get help from players with more experience. For newer players, I'd recommend playing something like Rhino, where you can cast your Iron Skin and gain Ferrite armor, making you very tanky. This is important in the Index because the more Index points you pick up, they will both decrease your health and your shields, while draining a small amount of energy over time, making abilities like Iron Skin or Nezha's Shield really good for keeping you alive. For my build on Rhino, this is a simple one that I've just worked up. A little bit of power strength, efficiency, and duration. If you're doing a more advanced build, then I'd recommend getting more power strength. But this should be a fairly simple build to get started. The hardest to get mod here is probably Iron Shrapnel, which is a Syndicate mod. This is not necessary, but it makes reapplying your Iron Skin very easy, because if you press 2 again with Iron Shrapnel, it will detonate your Iron Skin and then you can reapply it immediately instead of waiting for it to run out. But this mod is not absolutely necessary to have when doing the Index. As far as weapons go, I'd recommend some variation of a shotgun or high burst damage that you can use to quickly kill enemies as they scale in both level and health during the Index run. This is a quick heck build that I worked up. It's not necessarily the best, but during my test it worked well enough for me. And again, Scattered Justice is a Syndicate mod. This is a really good mod for the heck. If you don't have it, I recommend picking it up. You can either buy it for about 15 plat or rank up your Steel Meridian Syndicate reputation. Alright, well, let's get into the run. So when you first choose the Index as a mission, you're presented with 3 options: the low, the medium, and the high risk. The difference between these three options is the amount you invest and the amount of points you need to win a round. As far as I'm aware, currently the enemies scale off of the time spent in the mission, so they'll all start around level 30 and continue to scale the longer you stay in any of the three tiers. So the index is essentially a mini game where you kill enemy AI and pick up the points they drop. Ideally, you want a team of 4 other players, because if you don't play with people, the game puts friendly AI on your team and they are dumb as bricks. As you pick up points, you should notice that there is a bonus point counter on the top left of your screen. This stacks up to 20 base points, so after you've picked up 20 points, you'll have a bonus of 10 and you can turn it in. Anything more than that doesn't count towards an additional bonus, so it's not worth holding on to. I know holding points is thrilling, but please don't hoard hundreds of points. So on this low index, all we need is to turn in 50 points and we'll advance to the next round. Holding lots of points is the reason why Rhino and Neja are good for this, because they don't care if their health is low or if they're out of energy while their ability is up. And when you score points, it will add seconds to the timer. So when the players score points, it increases the timer, and if you get scored against, it will decrease the timer. So watch out for that, because you can lose a run if someone dies with a lot of points and the AI scores on you. But that's basically how the index works. So at the end of each round, you'll have the option to stay invested, which essentially means that you can gain the bonus again without putting up your upfront cost. So on this low index, I wouldn't have to pay another 30,000 credits to gain the 100,000 that it rewards. And if you have something like a credit booster, it will also double the amount of credits you receive from this mission, which makes farming credits extremely easy, especially later on when you're running the high index at a 200,000 credit profit. And to be honest, I don't really think there's a huge difference between the different levels. So if you're reasonably confident, I would suggest trying the high index for a bigger profit. And the last thing I want to talk about in terms of farming credits are the blueprints and crafting components that you pick up during your missions. So if you look at your equipment inventory, it'll show all the items that you have. If you go to your miscellaneous tab, it'll show a bunch of different blueprints that you have saved up that you may not need anymore. Like something like the Harrow chassis, you're only going to ever need one of those, and you can't sell them unless they're prime parts for platinum, so it's not worth keeping. Things like the miter, incubator segments, and especially the Warframe pieces are worth selling after you've stocked up on a bunch of them. Right now I don't have a whole lot because I just sold a bunch of mine. But it's good to go through and check to see what blueprints you can sell quite often. So you can see from this, I'm making 100,000 just from selling excess drops, which adds up significantly over time. But that's going to be it for today's video. So I hope you guys found this helpful if you're having trouble farming credits and you've learned hopefully some useful information. If you found it helpful, please do leave a like and subscribe for future content.